You're listening to Letters to Elise only on Still Radio, FM 112.3. Some letters come sealed in grief, some in memory. But tonight's letter, it came wrapped in disbelief. It begins. It was cream colored, tied with a pale blue ribbon, thick, expensive paper, the kind you use for once in a lifetime events. I thought maybe it was a fundraiser invite or something from work. But when I opened it, it was a wedding invitation, my sister Audrey, and my husband Michael. This is Caroline's story.
I didn't scream, didn't throw it, didn't tear it up. I just stared at it. Like if I looked long enough, the names would rearrange themselves into something that made sense. But they didn't. Audrey Lane, Michael Reynolds, April 14th, Savannah, Georgia, cocktail attire. I hadn't heard from either of them in 6 months. Let me tell you about Audrey. She was my baby long before she was anyone else's. Our mom was barely present, working nights, numbing herself with pills. Dad left when Audrey was 4. I was 10. And from then on, it was me. I made her school lunches, braided her hair, stayed up with her when she had night terrors, and held her hand at the dentist when she cried. We used to say we were like a teacup and a saucer, always together, always balancing each other. She was bright, charismatic, messy in the way artists are, dreamed of owning a photography studio in New York. I was the opposite, grounded, careful. I did the practical things, married young, built a life, a family. And Audrey? She drifted, in and out of bad relationships, cities, jobs, phases. But no matter what, I was always her anchor. She used to text me, "You're my whole heart, Caro, my forever person." When Michael and I got married, she cried harder than I did. She said I was the only one who ever chose love without fear. The girls adored her. She was the fun aunt, the one who danced in the kitchen and snuck them candy and whispered secrets at bedtime. She became part of the rhythm of our home. And when her life fell apart, again, and she showed up at our doorstep with nothing but a suitcase and puffy eyes. Of course I let her in. It was supposed to be a month, just until she got on her feet. I was juggling 2 kids, a full-time job, and a marriage that, if I'm being honest, had gotten a little quiet. So when Audrey stepped in to help, it felt like a blessing. She made dinner when I worked late, took the girls to school, made Michael laugh in a way I hadn't seen in months. She played music in the house, lit candles, turned every night into something soft and golden. She fit in, almost too well. The first flicker of discomfort came one night in the kitchen. I was upstairs folding laundry. I could hear them downstairs, Audrey and Michael, laughing, long and low. That kind of laugh that has pauses in it, the kind you lean in for. I paused, towel in hand, and I thought, it's good. She's healing. They're connecting. I should be happy. But something tightened in my chest. I ignored it. I had to. Because the alternative was unthinkable. There's a kind of silence that builds between people, not loud, not angry, just different, hollow. That's what started happening between Michael and me. And Audrey? She filled that space. She started making his coffee in the morning, perfectly, just the way he liked it. Hazelnut, 2 sugars, splash of almond milk. I'd walk in and there it would be, already made, already waiting, already hers to give. She'd say things like, "You've been working so hard, Mikey. You deserve someone to take care of you for once." Right in front of me, smiling, like it was nothing. One night I came home late from work. The girls were already in bed. The lights were low. I heard music, one of Michael's jazz records playing in the living room. And there they were. Audrey curled into the corner of the couch, blanket wrapped around her shoulders. Michael pouring wine into 2 glasses. They looked up like I'd walked in too early, or maybe too late. Michael stood up quickly. "We were just catching up," he said. Audrey smiled and said, "Don't worry, I didn't spill your favorite Merlot." I laughed. Because what else could I do? I was the wife in the doorway, and she was already on the couch. The next day, I found one of my silk blouses in her laundry pile. A week later, I noticed she'd switched to my perfume, the expensive one I only wore on anniversaries. The bottle was nearly empty. She shrugged and said, "You never wear it anymore." And Michael? He noticed. He said I smelled nice when I was wearing something she had put on that morning. I laughed again. Because denial's a hell of a thing. But the worst was the moment with my daughter. I was brushing her hair. We were talking about school. And she said, casual as anything, "Audrey said she might take us to Disney next summer. She said Daddy thinks it's a good idea, too. Maybe we can all go, like a real family." A real family. I paused, and she looked up at me. "Isn't Audrey kind of like our second mommy now?" I didn't cry. I just said, "No, baby. Audrey's your aunt, that's all." That night, I told Michael I wanted to talk. He said he was tired. That work was stressing him out. That I always read into things. I said I felt like he was drifting. He kissed my forehead and said, "You always think the worst of people." And maybe I did, but not this time. The next morning, I drove the girls to school. On the way home, I saw Michael's car parked near the coffee shop downtown. Only, he wasn't at the coffee shop. He was across the street, laughing on the sidewalk with Audrey. His hand was on her lower back. Not playful, not innocent, intimate. I didn't stop, didn't roll down the window, just drove by like a ghost, like someone watching her own life from the outside. When I got home, I sat in the driveway for almost an hour. Didn't go inside, didn't call anyone, just sat there, trying to understand how you lose everything, while you're still living in it. There's a moment when heartbreak stops being vague. It crystallizes, becomes a time, a date, a room, a single second where everything you feared becomes fact. Mine came on a Saturday morning. I told them I was going away for the weekend. Girls' trip, spa, nothing big. Audrey hugged me at the door and said, "Take time for yourself. You deserve it." Michael kissed me on the cheek and said, "Don't worry, we've got everything covered here." They smiled, they waved, and they watched me drive away. But I didn't go far, just to a motel 6 blocks away, and I waited. At 8:42 p.m., the kitchen lights came on. At 9:10, the wine glasses were out. By 10:17, the upstairs bedroom light turned on. Ours, mine, not hers. I came home at 10:35. No key in the lock. I stepped in silently. The house smelled like sandalwood and garlic. Music played softly, one of our playlists, one we made the first year we were married. I climbed the stairs like a stranger, one step at a time. At the top, the door was cracked open. I pushed, and there they were. He was in bed, shirtless. She was laughing. Then she saw me, and the color drained from her face like ink in water. Michael froze. Audrey covered herself with the comforter. "Caroline," she whispered. But I didn't scream, didn't cry, didn't say a single word. I just stared at the two people I trusted most in the world, and realized they weren't people anymore. They were a wreckage. I turned, walked back down the stairs, out the door. I didn't take anything with me, just the keys and the sick, numb feeling that maybe the last 10 years of my life had never been real at all. 3 days passed, then came Thanksgiving. We were supposed to host. Tradition, every year. Family from both sides. The girls would make place cards. Audrey would always bring the same lemon pie. I showed up anyway, dressed in my best black dress, hair done, eyes dry. They didn't expect me. Audrey looked like she'd seen a ghost. Michael opened his mouth, but I raised a hand and said, "Don't, this won't take long." I waited until dinner was served. Everyone was sitting. Then I stood, lifted a glass. "To family," I said. "To loyalty. To knowing who's sitting at your table and who's been stealing the food off your plate." The silence was immediate. Audrey dropped her fork. Michael looked down. My aunt gasped. "I hope the turkey tastes better than betrayal," I said. Then I left, walked right out the door. Didn't look back. 2 hours later, Michael called. He begged, apologized, said he didn't know what came over him, said it was a mistake, that it wasn't love, that it didn't mean anything. And I said, "That's the worst part. that I did mean something, you just didn't care. But Audrey? She doubled down, posted a photo of them smiling on Facebook that night. Caption, "We finally chose happiness." And 3 weeks later, she called to tell me she was pregnant. I hung up without saying a word, because some things don't deserve a reply. They moved in together 2 months after Thanksgiving. Same town, same circle, same church where Michael and I got married. They posted photos with my daughters, smiling, baking, decorating a tree, and people smiled back, because no one really wants to believe the worst, especially not when it's dressed in family and filtered through sunshine. I didn't fight, not in court, not online, not even in group texts. I just disappeared, took the girls, moved to a smaller place, took a job teaching night classes, stopped wearing my wedding ring, started sleeping through the night, most nights anyway. Grief doesn't come all at once, it comes like a tide. Some mornings I missed him. Some mornings I missed her. Some mornings I missed myself. But I was healing, one scar at a time, and then came the twist. My friend Anita, who still volunteered at the clinic, texted me out of the blue. "You okay?" "Why?" I asked. "Because Audrey just asked me where to buy a fake ultrasound printout." Turns out, there was no baby. There never had been. Audrey had faked it. She lied to Michael, lied to everyone, told them she was pregnant because she thought it would make him stay. He found out a week later. They split in under 48 hours. No drama, no fights, just a single bag and an Uber receipt. Michael moved out, changed his number, wrote me a letter I never opened. I keep it in the back of my nightstand, sometimes just to remind myself what not to do with forgiveness. As for Audrey, she showed up on my doorstep 6 months later, tear-streaked, empty-handed, thinner than I remembered. "I have nowhere else to go," she said. I stood in the doorway, my daughters behind me, my life clean, quiet, sacred, and I said, "You had everywhere, and you chose this." I closed the door, and I haven't opened it since. People ask me if I still love her, and I do. But loving someone isn't the same as letting them in. She took my sisterhood. She took my husband. She tried to take my children, my peace, my future. But the one thing she couldn't take was the
woman I became after she left.
This letter was read by permission. The names have been changed. You've been listening to Letters to Elise on Still Radio FM 112.3. We'll see you tomorrow night. Until then, take care of your heart,